Episode 19 of the Fortnite skin series here on the YouTube for Simo Buckets. I wanted to post this one as well because this one is awesome because obviously it's a part of the Battle Pass for Chapter 6 Season 2. But I wanted to put it on here because let's be honest, I know it's not a husky, it's a wolf, but with that jacket and the color scheme, theme of the season, which is gold and bank vaults and all that stuff. It's so UW Huskies, and I'm not gonna lie. A lot of people are like, well, no, it's not. It's not really a husky. Well, it's the closest thing I've seen to a husky that they've made in a character or a skin on this game. And this, what do you call it? Edit style for Fletcher Kane is the most Huskies thing I've seen on this entire game, and it's perfect. I mean, yes, he's got a nice outfit here, but it's black. And then obviously the other outfits, which are coming later. And he's got that jacket, which is sick. But then you've got all the other additional things, right? The super levels, etc. Which this one is going to be probably the one I'll use for the husky skin altogether. But for now, we have this one, and altogether, it just looks like the UW Huskies. And for those of you that don't know, we live out here in the Pacific Northwest. We live across the water from uh, Seattle. And for those of you that don't know what that means, we have the Puget Sound. The Puget Sound is a body of water that goes between Bremerton slash Kitsap County and King County. King County is where basically Seattle and the lower extremities, higher extremities of the city and the county go. And ferry service goes in between to service those people. And obviously, you can drive around, but you have to go down to Tacoma, back up from Tacoma to Seattle. If you know anything about the Pacific Northwest, it's a pain to get to Seattle from here, but it's nice to get there through ferry. And my daughter and I, over the last, I don't know, 2 years now, have been going to UW events often. And with how good UW was a couple of years ago in football, from the time of this recording, um, we didn't just go to UW events because of the good football team. We went because it was something to do, and really we found a way to go to a lot of things like their rowing events, basketball, baseball, softball, gymnastics. Obviously, we went to a football game. Mila went to her first college football game last year. I think it was against Eastern Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and all the other things that they do. We try to go to as many UW practice games as they do, like in April, which is coming up based on the time of the release of this video. So we try to go as often as we can to UW stuff whenever we can. And it usually goes from about, I would say, September till basically the beginning of May is when everything kind of ends for UW generally on a normal basis. Mid May, because that's when the baseball season generally ends for them. Um, so yeah, it's like all school year we can go to UW stuff and it's fun. And I think the frustrating part is a lot of their stuff is late at night, but that's okay. When they have day stuff, we go and we try to get there. We try to be there. It's a great place to be. It's an absolutely beautiful scene when you're on campus running around. And so this skin altogether reminded me of the University of Washington. I mean, it just looks like a dang husky for God's sake. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's a part of the battle pass, but there is a part of it where when you're looking at it all together, you start to think, wow, this is a big deal. And this is a really, really, really cool skin to represent. And come football season, I mentioned it on my previous one with Clover Swift. That obviously for Notre Dame, for my family, but for my own sake, for my own uh, team, for UW, I definitely will play with Fletcher Kane from time to time. And it won't even just be because of football. Like, I just love the Huskies. Like, if I'm just feeling like, UW and excited, I'm just going to put on Fletcher Kane. That's just how it's going to be. And that's what he reminds me of. He's exactly what I would envision a UW football player, football, not just football, basketball, whatever, the spirit of the Huskies. He looks exactly like that. And so that's why I wanted to talk about the skin. That's why I was excited to show them off. And I've really grown a big affinity for UW. I've been watching them since I got into sports in the late 90s. I remember when they won the Rose Bowl back in 2000 with Marcus Tuiasosopo. I remember when going to high school at Lakes High School, for those who don't know, Reggie Williams, the greatest, maybe subtracting Roma Dunze. Roma Dunze and Reggie Williams are the two best wide receivers at UW ever. And Reggie Williams was the original great player, and he came to UW in the early 2000s after he graduated from Lakes High School. I went to Lakes High School. And then Jermaine Kearse, who I actually went to school with, played basketball with his brother, and played basketball with him and all that other stuff. And he went to the NFL, played for the Seahawks, etc. Won the Super Bowl, helped win the Super Bowl with the Seahawks as one of the receivers. Anyway, he went to UW, right? And there's a bunch of other people I know who went to UW. One of my best cross country coaches went to UW. He was an All-American there. He was one of the few people to break I think it was the 28 or 29-minute mark in the 10K, an absolutely incredible feat. He held that for he's like one of the 5 people to do it at UW ever. So there's a lot of history of people and affiliation through my life in particular in regards to UW, the University of Washington, because growing up in Tacoma, that's relatively close to UW. I mean, it's an hour. It's about 45 minutes away from Tacoma. It's about an hour away for us driving. Getting on the ferry, it's its own little feat. But overall, yeah, UW, I would say really outside the last couple of years before that, I really wasn't invested in UW, not just because they weren't good at sports or football or whatever, or because they weren't as good as they were. It's just, it never felt like it was something that was like, like somewhere to go, because it felt like it was too far away, because it is about 5-10 minutes outside of the city, in regards to like driving. So why would I drive an extra 5-10 minutes outside of the city if I already know taking an hour is going to get to Seattle? Why would I do that? Well, once we learned that we could take the ferry and then take the light link, which is basically the subway, to directly right there next to the stadium, I was sold. I was like, I'm in. Like, I want to go to as many things as I can now because it's so easy and accessible. Get off a ferry, get on the subway, boom. And it literally takes 5-10 minutes to get from the ferry to UW on foot. I'm in. And with how accessible that is for what I do for my job um, and for really where we live, it's almost a no-brainer, and it's an adventure. And with my kids and my wife and my family, it's a really, really, really unique experience, especially when there's big events going on or when there's an interesting thing going on campus that you can go see. And it's just a fun, good place to be. And it's college and it's all the things. So anyway, that's why I picked Fletcher Kane um, as one of my episodes here for the Fortnite skin series. Thanks again for watching, and we'll get you another one coming up. We'll get these going again.